voting for 3. Zone, sweet zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Oh my god. I love that it's not steam, by the way. It's pressurized gas. That's so good. When the Stanley Parable was released. Cargo Operator's Manual. Galactic Cafe, World Class Award, Today's Best Idea Today, Indie Box Collection, First Edition. This looks like an old like Windows or Mac's OS box. The old video games like on PC when you could buy them physical. Oh yeah? 2004 Independent Games Festival. The green picture. I mean this? The British Academy of Films and Television Awards awarded to Stanley Parable. Oh, over The Last of Us. Oh, that's so good. Our First Kiss, My First Car, the release of the Stanley Parable. Okay. Postcards, I love it. The original remake. Buy unpressurized gas. Oh, but they still call it Mozilla Firefox. I thought it would have changed the name to something else, but no. Linguists identify 15,000-year-old ultra-conserved words. 6 components of a great corporate culture. Good times. Good times. Smile because it happened. Vinyl? Bits of music from the Stanley Parable? A $1 note? Why? Begin the demo. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Apparently, that I know. Apparently, in this version of the game, I know you were talking about this alpha, but like in the Ultra Deluxe, there's a new achievement, and it's the same kind of idea, but instead of 5 years, it's 10 years, and it's don't play the deluxe edition for 10 years. Unachievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. Oh my god. Nominee British Academy Award. Are these real? Debut game. I guess it must be real. College show uneven effort to enroll poor. The New York Times. This is intriguing. They're allowed to use the real names here. In loving memory, little Stanley. Aww. Little Stanley.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, seul sur la pluie des loups, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now, a lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
I mean, we know I'm all about elevator content, so I mean, we're good. I love that, like, so this was a mod. The Stanley Parable HD, the full-scale reimagining of one of the most intriguing mods available online. It was a mod for what game? Like, what game was this a mod for? That they eventually made into like a Steam game. Half-Life? Yeah, that's what I thought, right? Like, it feels like Half-Life, right? Hey, Bob! What's up, man? It's been a little while. How are you doing, Bob? Get you your starter bamboos. It has been a while. Yeah, you're right. This feels like Half-Life. The two doors. Person of the year, and then we don't see the face. That's great. Yeah, this goes that way, but I don't want to go that way. I want to go down here. My seasonal allergies came around, and along with wearing a mask, I've been having some problems breathing. Oh no! Well, I hope you're gonna feel better soon, man. Memory zone maintenance. Okay, I can't open it. Too bad. Damn. Your number is 29. People play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything. Literally anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from
I have a giant thing in my
GameSpot.com.
hands.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly
Bob!
stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in
You weren't
games
following?
and one
What?
that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Thank you so much, Bob. I love your face. 21 months of support. Oh my God. This is some hype in chat. Sub hype 1 and sub hype 2. Let's go. Preparing snake oil salesman I don't know what that is. Routine? Repeatable carpet texture, ready for your game project, and source SDK. I love it. The Stanley Parable review. It's a video game analog for Charlie Kaufman and Spike Jonze's brilliant film adaptation. Superb. There's no the bad, and yet it scores a 9 instead of a 10. Kind of weird if you think about it. Oh. The serious room. But I can't jump. How do I go into the serious room?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
Like
Wait,
load into a cannon?
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Oh, I don't know. Pressurized gas?
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
I mean, maybe they weren't. User reviews, exactly. Oh my God, what are we going to see? So I started the roulette earlier. Who won? Oh, it rolled a 1. Okay, I see. Not recommended?
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
I wonder if that's a real user, like a real review. Like, how cool would that be if that were the case? It's a real review? No way. That's amazing.
Let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
Oh,
Perhaps
come on.
the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Noodle scaff. I mean, it's not my fault these people don't know what a good video game is. Right? Like... Noodle sheep? That's what it means, Prof? Bro, like, think about it. Like, right? Like, I mean, those people don't know what a good game is. It's simple as that. Like...
What's this
Yes?
one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Oof.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Okay. There it is. That's the skip button. I was just thinking I choose not to press it, but I guess not. I have to.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people.
What if I don't
and
press
if the
it?
people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
Just stare at it?
It went
Okay.
on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you.
Do I
And
just, like,
therefore,
keep-
by becoming
let
it
it
is,
go?
so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No,
It feels that way,
until
but, like, I'm wondering.
245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years.
I feel like we should
until
let it
just
go.
yesterday, here and there, forward and
There's-
back, and never a moment
the
before
devs
lunchtime.
definitely
Can't be.
thought of
It's
this.
the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much
8,
more
10
than
times,
forever
20 times,
ago?
it'd be 100?
Which is
Oh
why
my
I
God.
say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all
I
at
wanna see
once.
if it stops,
So,
like,
now
on
you
its
see,
own.
blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until
Are they seriously gonna go
245.
forever? Like-
That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago?
Am I gonna get a
Which
trophy
is why
for
I
this?
say the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So, now you see, blah 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 blah
Blah, 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 blah,
We've eaten
blah,
too
blah,
much and it
blah.
can't be just yet. No, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices, or what have
Oh my
you,
God, it's been
and
going for
therefore
all
by
along now.
becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end
I'll
of
give it, like,
time,
2 more
at which
shots
time
to make sure we
everything
get
all
to,
at
like,
once.
10 at
So,
least
now
10.
you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No,
I'm gonna go in
until
circles.
245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say
Googled it? How long?
the
It never
story
stopped?
and the choices,
Okay.
or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on
repeats
and so
forever.
forth,
Okay,
until
well then.
inevitably
I'm not gonna
until the
even
end
try.
of time.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the
I know,
nature
we
of choice
heard
in
it.
video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are
This is
both
crazy.
making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. Ah. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to
How
be
is
here
that
all day.
anything?
Okay, look. I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word
It is
back
more grand. Yeah,
in
true.
repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise,
Oh my
manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise.
Yeah.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place.
I'm not sure.
I guess I should become better educated
I
on
think you
how
can-
exactly
can you
pressurized
update?
gas works.
A review? I don't
Perhaps
think so.
that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is who runs pressurized gas will instantly run out and implement a new
Pressurized
feature to make it
gas.
possible to edit one's review merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review so that
No.
the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with pressurized gas altering this particular review so that it reads as something more From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable?
It skipped some
Ultra
dialogue.
Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment.
It's just so
You are
long.
not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving.
Oh my God.
Well, I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful.
No.
I have to experience this just one more time. From the ashes of...
No.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole?
Where's my door?
A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
12 hours?
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door.
The door's in another
There's
castle?
No door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley,
Oh my God, the
It's
plants!
been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both